You're listening to the Rebel Scum podcast.
You are always scum. Rebel Scum.
From odds making to list rankings, we've got you covered. And don't forget to join us on Patreon for early access and exclusive content. Here are your hosts, Brock and James.
We're in a new era. This is something you might not know, or you might have read about it because it's occurring in High Republic. Mostly, God, I'm reading it. What's it called? Light of the Force.
Light of the Jedi. Light of the Jedi. You fake fan.
I'm reading it on my Kindle right here. I noticed it, but then I saw an article talking about it. In the era of the High Republic, Jedis would throw away their lightsabers constantly. Like there's a mention of one Jedi whose lightsaber is like really banged up, and that's considered weird because it's like, well, why don't you fix it or get a new lightsaber? So that's interesting. I mean, that can all go away. This is like 200 years of Jedi lore, but like now all of a sudden lightsabers aren't as important, or at least kyber crystals don't seem. I mean, I'm sure there's a million people out there like, no, you're wrong, Brock. But have you heard about this at all?
I read it. Like, I have not read the High Republic, as I said last podcast. But I did see an article with a heading that referred to that. I didn't look into it though because I haven't read it. But so that being said, I have something to ask you. How do you, Brock, feel about that?
I mean, I think maybe I'm reading into it a little too wrong, and it's just saying, oh, the casing and stuff, you can change that. Like, you know, you can upgrade your car whatever you want and still the same car. Because it's like, it's a slow Star Wars news week, I guess, because it's like it's a very minor part, and that's it. It's just sort of one Jedi looking. I think it's a Padawan looking at. I think it's a male Padawan looking at a female Jedi, like the Jedi Knight Master, whatever. And then that's it, and they go on. Like it's happening. It's just giving you a little insight on that character. So it's like whatever. But I was like, oh, someone else noticed it. So I was like, it was rewarding for me. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I kept reading. But then they're like, oh, someone else ever picked on that. So yeah, cool, whatever. I'm spoilers. I really like this book, even though I don't know the title. Light of the Jedi, really, really good. They should turn this into a cartoon show. It'd be great.
Yeah, I've heard Andrew Fantasia really liked it. I've heard a few people say that they like it. I'm getting more and more feeling like I want to read. Do you know what I love about the High Republic? I just was thinking about the other day, and so well, first of all, my thoughts on it are I've never been the whole like lightsabers are so important.
Yeah,
I'm okay with throwing that out the window because first of all, Anakin has 7,000 lightsabers. like he just has 1 million of lightsabers, and they're like, well, let's make them important. Okay, like it's just whatever. That's not something I care about. The one thing there is something that's turning me off of the High Republic. I don't know if I'll talk about that or not, but there's something that the one thing that I love what they're doing with the High Republic is they've set this 400 years before the Phantom Menace. And the thing that's, to me, that's great about that is they're not tied down to anything. They can do whatever they want. And, and some terrible fan is going to sit there and be like, well, no, because in that one episode of Droid, C-3PO, that doesn't matter anymore. They can do whatever they want. And so I really appreciate that because I thought what was really hindering the other novels, and then some of them were great, obviously, that they had was it was like, well, how's this going to tie into The Force Awakens? And how's this going to tie into... It's like, frick, we shouldn't, when we're reading a book, we shouldn't be worried about all the continuity BS. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like have the freedom to tell the story. And that's something that I really appreciate with the High Republic is they were all in this room. So whatever they have, and that's that. And they're not tied down and beholden to any garbage, and no fan could come out and complain about any of it. You could complain the lightsabers or whatever, but like I said, I don't think that's an argument because Anakin went through 700,000 lightsabers, and that's just an Attack of the Clones. So I like that's how I feel with the High Republic. Like I said, I haven't been dying to read it, not necessarily because I don't like the authors, because I think they're all talented. I've read so much Star Wars, but because of what you guys are saying about it, maybe I'm gonna go into that. But I love and I appreciate the fact that they get to do whatever they want without worrying about tying into anything.
Absolutely, and the best part is like Yoda gets mentioned in it, but he's not even really a character in this story, as if they're like, ha! Joss will just punch you in the stomach. It's like, we told you Yoda was there, but he's barely in it. He's barely in it.
Which again is great because Yoda should be there, but he doesn't need to be the lead of your story, even though in that time frame. So I love it. Yeah, that's great.
Really, what we should do is get a joint like book account, virtual books, because it's like, come on. You don't need to buy every physical copy. You don't need to be Andrew. And then just share the sign-in so we can like, I read this one, I buy this one, you buy that one, I buy this, or something like that. Like,
you have a Kindle?
Yeah, well, I have a tablet with a Kindle.
Oh, you bought okay, yeah, because I have the Kobo, which I've said frequently on it that I love reading on that thing. That is how I like it. I'm reading a physical book right now, and I swear every time I turn a page. Because if it's on the left page, I'm just like, my nose is blocking the light at night. I'm just, if you want, though, I will purchase a Kindle, and we could get a joint Rebel Scum account.
You're not understanding. So Kindle is owned by
Amazon.
So you get the app.
No. They also have a Kobo. No, they have a Kobo app as well. I don't like reading on. It hurts my eyes, Brock, on those things.
So you have to have an actual device.
Well, I don't have to, but I prefer. Yes, my eyes thank me when I do. That's why I like the Kobo, because if you ever read on them, they're very flat. You can get a Kobo.
Right. I feel like we're talking about the same thing.
Yes,
I'm reading it on this tablet.
Yeah,
right?
It's the same account. You can use it. Same with you can use them on everything. Yeah. But I'm saying I would get myself a Kindle, and we can get a Rebel Scum account.
Just how the screen works.
Because I'm a spoiled brat, Brock. No, if you ever look at the ebooks are a dying thing apparently, but ebooks are rising. E-readers are dying.
E-readers,
but for me personally, the like just the way the screen is, and if I'm reading a book, that's a personal thing, and whatever. If you don't like it, you don't like it. That's whatever. But if you want, I'm just saying I will totally do that.
Yeah, like I have it on my phone, I have it on my tablet, and I think I can read it on my computer as well. So it's like,
yeah, you could do it anywhere. Yeah, I have Kindle app on my phone, iPad, and I have the Kobo app on my phone and iPad as well. So I do. But no, it's great, and it is like you just said though. Like it's great to just one day you're on your phone, you're like, oh, I'm going to read my book, and the next day you have your tablet, you're like, I'm going to read my book, and you can just wherever you are, and it recognizes the pages that you're at. This is an advertisement for e-readers everywhere.
E-readers.
But now, I'm starting to slowly, because of what you're saying, I'm slowly looking forward to reading Light of the Jedi, because you haven't really been harsh on your Star Wars reading. You've been selective, and you haven't really recommended any.
Yeah, no, this is really good. Like the characters, and there's like a gaggle of characters. That's like 13 characters, James. I don't know if you knew what
I wish Gaggle was just the name of a character. This is Jedi Master Gaggle. I have 13 personalities.
But Charles Soule he's a really good writer. So it's not overly surprising that it's a good book. But he introduces all these characters, and the cool thing too is because we know there's like concept art for like all these characters. I'm like, sometimes Avar Chris, who's the blonde woman on the cover, who like that's the thing. I keep thinking of her as the main character, and you follow her a lot, but she's not. It's like it's an ensemble cast, really. So it's like it's really balancing all these really cool characters, and I haven't watched Andrew's thing because I don't want it to like
Yes,
effect in the reading.
I haven't either. I made sure that it worked, and that was it. Because, like you though, like if I do decide to read it, I don't want to. So I asked his opinion of it, and that was it.
But like, it's really interesting because there's one problem, then another. Well, like there's one problem throughout, but it's like first they have to like save this planet, and then they have to solve the problem that was going to cause problems on that planet, and like that's really cool how they're managing it. And then like you introduce this villain like the Nihil, which if you've seen the concept art, they're all there, just and different races of beings, and they wear metal helmets and you can't see their face. They're really good. Like I didn't read a ton of the Star Wars comics when Black Horse still had it. I know of the Yuuzhan Vong, but I know almost nothing about the Yuuzhan Vong, but they feel similar to this. And the cool part is to what I know so far, because that's the beauty of it, like there's still stuff that hasn't been fully answered, and you're just like, how are they doing this? They don't seem to have any Jedi powers, right? And it's also on top of that, like this Jedi is recognizable but different. It's really cool. So it's like I can't suggest it enough. And I'm not doing it because I want more Star Wars content. It would be a fantastic movie, if not cartoon show. Like I think cartoon show makes the most sense because they already have the concept art. Just make those characters like. So yeah.
I have one question. So I obviously, like I said, I haven't read it. But I've read a lot of, and I don't read articles on it. Like I said, I read the headline of this and I read the headline of that, or things like that. I don't want to know too much. But people are saying, oh, and I love how it connects to this, connects to that. Do you ever feel like when these novels try to retcon or connect to books or to movies, to the Star Wars that we know and love, that it's not, no pun intended, but it's forceful and it's kind of useless in a lot of ways? Because do you think that what is being presented in this book will latch on? Because you're saying that there's a lot of new Jedi stuff, and I read like, oh, the Jedi proceed. Do you think that will latch on and will become a thing that we know about Jedi? Or is it almost like, it's fun in the book and then it'll be forgotten by everybody else?
See, that's the thing. It's hard to say because it's sort of like, yeah, this could just be like, when you used to read like Marvel, what if? It's like, oh, what if like the Punisher had killed Spider-Man on the first appearance, or what if the Fantastic Four hadn't been doused by cosmic rays or something like that. It feels like that. Like it also feels like this is this works. This could be what the Jedi were like 200 years ago. Even the galaxy feels a little different, but again, the same, so it's like the Republic works a lot smoother. So I'm interested. Like my assumption is like the emergence is like a reference they use in this book. It's the emergence, and that's sort of a touchstone in this book. So I'm curious if that is the whole plan of Project Luminous. Is this one event that's going to change the galaxy is what sends the Jedi into where they are in Phantom Menace and the Republic. So I'm very curious about that. But going back to what you were saying, you know what? Like these books could exist and have no effect on it, but like I've said it before, the fact that they went out of their way to call this whole writer collective Project Luminous, because like they mentioned the light a lot. I think they have something here that could become something. I don't know. But that's the problem, right? Like this book, and there's the other book that came out, and then there's 2 more books coming out next month.
And the comics.
And the comics are out, I think. I saw them. You can buy them digitally. If they're a success, then perhaps this could have effect, or they just like, oh well, we tried, whatever, move on. I mean, I think they're putting a lot, especially with the Acolyte having a connection to this, like.
Yeah, I think the Acolyte will undoubtedly be the biggest thing of the High Republic. And I mean that with no disrespect to the authors involved or the comics. It's just something visual. Like, people don't read anymore, I think, is the problem, right? Like, so I've read conflicting reports that some people are saying that the High Republic has been a failure, but also 2 of the books have hit like the number 1 or top 10 on the New York Times bestseller lists. But again, I also think that the thing is, people don't read like they used to. The books just don't sell like they used to, and the eyes and what I see a lot of on the social media, which is really tiring. Social media is tiring, but what I've seen is just a lot of people are like, I got the audio book, and so people are listening to the audio book, which is great. Awesome. Yeah. But I think the Acolyte is going to be the biggest thing, and I think the things that you're bringing up in this, if those transfer to that show, I feel like that's when they will latch on. Because I don't know, if you tell me like, oh, right now the Jedi can read each other's minds and whatever, I'll be like, oh, that's cool. But if you told your parents that, they'd be like, what? I don't care. Like it's that never happened. So like, and that's how I'm feeling about it. And that's the one thing that always, before, the Disney acquisition and during the George Lucas time, was when, the expanded universe stuff, is I never got totally into a lot of it, because I was like, it's fun. They're fun stories, but they're stories basically for me. Like I'm not going to go around talking about this like it's gospel, because, there's 3 movies, or there's 4 movies, or 5 or 6, depending on the time period. So I do hope, based on what you guys are saying, that it is a great book, that the Acolyte will use the information that we're learning from there and making that. It's kind of like Rogue One, kyber crystals. Now people know that kyber crystals are in a lightsaber. Before that, fans did, but no one else did. Like, it was never a thing, right? So that's what I'm getting at. Is I hope that there's that if it is as good as you guys are saying it is, which I'm not going to disagree with you, that they take this and then future, not The Mandalorian, because that's whatever, but like future shows and series and maybe movies take from that, and they use what we learn in these, and you make it mainstream official, I guess is what the phrasing should be.
Yeah, it's just, I guess it affecting, like, obviously the Acolyte will interact with these book series in some way.
Yeah.
But like future movies that, like, in the, like, that post Last Jedi, or sorry, post Rise of Skywalker, there might be references to them, but it's almost kind of unnecessary, because like unless I don't want to slam books, but it's true. It's like, it doesn't seem to really count in the cinematic universe till there's a successful of that. Like, it's something you could throw in, but like, do we need that? I don't know. Like, you could, I don't know. I feel like anything past Rise of Skywalker, you kind of have to, like, if you're going to have a new group of Jedi, like, at that point, it's like, they're so removed from the Jedi we see in the sequels, let alone the High Republic. Like, it's just like,
what would be
almost unnecessary, right? Sorry, go ahead.
So no, do you know what would be cool? You saying all that is and it got me thinking, is I think there will be an episode 10 at some point, because I think money talks, and that's gonna talk. But what would be kind of cool is if you give it some time, and we've had the originals, the prequels, the sequels, the High Republics, the Mandalorians, all these little things, the Patty Jenkins, the Taika Waititi, whatever the hell all that's going to be. We have all this now, and the dust starts to settle, and we say, it would be fun. Well, not we, but they say, it would be fun if we go back to the episodic stuff, and we do a new story and we tie in Rey or the Sky. We tie them in somehow, but we take it to what the High Republic was. And we get this new era of Jedi. Like Rey has the books, right? So maybe Rey now can take it back to that, and you take the information you have from there, mix with what we've learned in the films and all that, and then you grow from that. And I think one of the things I think Disney did with when they bought Lucasfilm is they were like, we're going to make these movies, and they threw the movies at us. But now they are taking the time, and it's clear that now they're taking the time with all of it. Because obviously it was clear with the sequel trilogy that there was no overarching plan, whatever. But now, like, the Mandalorian clearly has a plan, and they clearly have a plan to tie in Ahsoka. I mean, Dave Filoni's probably been thinking about this Ahsoka thing for like a decade, right? At least. So, like, the Ahsoka thing's happening, and then, you know, Favreau's like, oh, we're going to do this, and we'll do that. Like, he's there. And then you have, like, their movies, which are going to be fine and cute. But now you have this High Republic, which they definitely put a lot of thought and time into. And then they delayed it. And who knows what they did when they delayed it. They might have.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I feel like in that regard, for me, give me that episode 10 that now connects all of the dots. And maybe when you do an episode 10, when it's episodic, you don't have to worry about the name Skywalker. You connect it to Skywalker somehow. Because Skywalker exists and is a big part of everything. And for all we know, Skywalker plays into the High Republic at some part, like the name Skywalker or the prophecy, right? We don't know. It might not. I have no idea how I feel one way or another on that.
Yeah.
But you have it all, and now it's almost like a clean slate. Give us these 3 movies that you're promising us, and if they're great, you run with those. But now you can also give us this episode 10, I think, based on the information that we got. But that's me.
Yeah, no, it's I was thinking as we were talking, it's like, yeah, how do we work the prophecy of the chosen one in? Because it's like, you know, at some point Qui-Gon Jinn learns about it and he focuses a lot of his studies on it. Now it's like 150 years later, right? So.
And Claudia Gray wrote Master and Apprentice, and she's writing. Her book comes out in what, March, I think.
I think she's February.
Okay,
I think she's one of the next ones.
Okay, so you know, there's an author who's definitely aware of all of that.
Yeah. It's just cool. Like it's very, very cool. Like, I'm very curious what the comics would be like, because there's concept art. I can be like, oh, what does this person look like, and look it up. Like with books in the past, we didn't really have. I mean, we had existing characters, but like, you didn't really know what they looked like outside of if they were on the cover, right? Especially before the internet was a thing, right? It's like, this is a new thing I would argue this is the new expanded universe. I mean, Star Wars has been doing books, but like, this is the real first step into like, okay, the movies are over. What happens next, right? Even though it's like beforehand.
Yeah, because I was thinking my favorite novel of the Disney era has been Lords of the Sith, which connects to nothing. It's like Vader and Palpatine. And then like I love the Claudia Grace. Like Lost Stars is another one, and it connects to it happens while other things are happening. And Bloodline was great, but when you're reading Bloodline, you're like, oh well, what's gonna happen? How's this gonna connect to The Last Jedi? You know, there's a whole thing going on. It's like I was so tired of that towards the end of it. I'm like, I don't know. Does it have to? Like the Aftermath is like, Aftermath's gonna connect to. No, it doesn't. And did that ruin Aftermath for me when I read it? Was the anticipation that it was supposed to connect to like these dots together, and then it never really did. But then maybe when I watched The Rise of Skywalker, it did. I don't know. So there's that. I love the High Republic as its own thing, and they're all working. I'm curious now because Andrew's obviously read it. You haven't read the Justine Ireland one. Claudia Grace is coming on these comics. I'm curious how they work together. If they even really do, or if it's like Charles Soule wrote this, Claudia Gray wrote that, and they're using the same characters and they weave in and out a little bit, but they're not dependent on each other. They're individual. I'm kind of hoping that they are individual novels of one another, where you don't need one to get to the other, because it's not episode 4, 5, 6. It's High Republic, Light of the Jedi. It's High Republic. I don't know what the other ones are called, but it's all these different titles. And yeah.
Well, they're definitely gonna have characters.
Yeah, like that. Yes.
Because there's like Jedi Master Scree or whatever. He's Trandoshan. He's missing an arm. He's in the book, but very small part of it. And I know he's like one of the main characters in the comic. So it's like, that's beautiful.
Yeah, that's great. But
yeah.
It's not. But what I'm saying is it's not dependent. Like if I decide to read the comic, and Charles Soule did release, I believe, a listing of the order to read them all in if you had a chance.
Right, yeah.
But I still am wondering if that's necessary. Like it might, but I don't know. Like I hope they're not handcuffed. I hope all these authors aren't in any way handcuffed when they're telling their story.
I mean, you hear me?
My internet's finally working. Come on.
No, I think it's my cord starting to go. When you mentioned Lords of the Sith, I'm like, I've been reading this book for a week now, and I haven't even remotely thought about the Sith, and they are technically present. You know, like we could.
But they were hidden. Well, you're fiction, right? They were hidden exactly. for 1,000 years or two. So yeah.
Yeah, like perhaps. Perhaps Palpatine isn't alive. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I just keep talking and I'm hearing distortion on mine. Palpatine's probably not alive yet.
No.
Darth Plagueis is. So yes. It's like, I would say you don't have to put him in there, but like it'd be cool if at some point, like that's the beauty of this story. They have their villain and they don't need anything else.
That's like, great.
Yeah.
But you know what though? To that point though, that's when they bring Palpatine back in the sequels. Mm-hmm. It's because they didn't have a villain. Yeah, exactly. Right, and that that is what it is. But the Acolyte, who knows what the show is about still. Yeah. But wouldn't it be kind of cool if that show was about creating the prophecy to F with the Jedi, to screw with the Jedi? They're like, we're going to manipulate midichlorians, and we will create. Because I guess Palpatine didn't create Anakin anymore in canon. I don't know if that was ever a thing, but it was a cool theory. Whoever thought of that. Anyway, you're selling me on the High Republic more than most people have, especially Fantasia, because I don't trust anything he says, because he likes Avatar. He likes Avatar. No, you're definitely selling me on it. I am reading a book right now. I am cheap. When it goes on sale, I'll pick it up, an ebook, because that's how I roll.
Oh, for sure.
That's how I roll. I got Leia, Princess of Alderaan, for free on my Kobo account because I'm a VIP member.
Ooh la la!
Yeah, and if you spend like $1,000, they give you a free. Not like a new book, like a book that's been around for like a year or two. They give you a free one, and
a YA novel.
Yeah, they give you a nice what? No, I had the choice between that. There's a lot of books, and it's based on points, but it was Bloodline and one of the Han Solo books before Solo came out. One of those books that were released, and you suggested Leia, Prince of Alderaan over. I think it was you.
No, I didn't read it, so I couldn't really make that. I mean,
and it wasn't you. It was somebody else recommended Leia, Princess of Alderaan over the Han Solo one, so I picked it up. It was pretty good.
Nice. Yeah, it's.
But it's like a fluff, like Claudia Gris's a great writer and everything, but it's like a fluff book. You read it, you're like, that's fun.
Yeah.
Move on, which is what I was worried these High Republic things would be, and they ultimately maybe they are, but also at the same time, that's kind of the point. It's like as long as you enjoy it, does it really matter? Like, does anything else matter? You don't. No. Make it good. Oh, I'm not plugged. My computer's not plugged in. So do you think you'll pick up the YA novel?
Yeah, I think so. Just because it'd be cool to just sort of track this whole thing. Yeah, I feel like I'm all in. Like, I think I'll read the Claudia Gray one for sure, and if that one blows my mind like this one does, like I'll be like, yeah, I'm in. Buy all the content.
All right.
All right.
I will check out. Sorry, my computer wasn't plugged in, so I scooted it. No, but people listening are like, I don't care. Is Darth Maul the main character in any of this?
No.
Now, what's the point?
I don't know. Like, it's like, I feel like the Acolyte taking place 50 years before Phantom Menace isn't far enough away from it. You know what I mean? But I could be wrong. I don't know how they're going to work. I'm curious about how this all going to work.
Oh, is it 50 years before Phantom Menace?
I thought so, wasn't it?
I remember it said the end of the High Republic, towards the end of the High Republic. So I don't know. I have all the faith in the world of everything that they're doing right now. I honestly think whatever anyone thinks, if you think it's the greatest or you think it's the worst, whatever happened with the sequel trilogy, in your opinion, doesn't matter. Because they definitely were. They got rid of George Lucas. But they look. They bought Star Wars, Disney. They bought Lucasfilm. They bought Star Wars. They wanted to make some stuff. They wanted to make it their own. And I think those first 5 movies that we got were them getting their feet wet. They learned what worked. They learned what didn't work. And there's more stuff that's going to work, and there's more stuff that's not going to work coming up. Like, get ready, because you're going to hate something Star Wars coming, and you're going to love something Star Wars coming. It's going to work both ways. And, we did our rankings list, Brock, on January 1st. Nobody argued with them, like I said. It's like everyone's like, this is the most perfect list of all time. And but one of the comments that kept coming up was, you've got to do a show ranking now, like a TV show ranking of Star Wars. And I think we should. I think we have to figure out how, because there's 4 billion episodes of Clone Wars, and there's 16 episodes of Mandalorian. Like, it's a lot of content now. Rebels, of course, and Resistance. So there's a lot there that we should figure out. But Star Wars. But it's shifting though. It's like the films will be the films. We're gonna get at least 3 more.
Yeah.
But TV is where it's going to live on with Rangers of the New Republic, Ahsoka, Mando season 3, Book of Boba Fett, the Acolyte, Visions, Visions, Droid Story, Lando, and the one that I'm super excited about is the Acolyte, only because I love villains, and I'm hoping that it is I kind of hope that it is a Sith villain in Acolyte, and so it's supposed to be a female-led show, which tells me it's not about Palpatine.
Right.
So, could Plagueis be a woman?
Yeah, it could be. Like, they never really say it in the.
Do they say it in
film?
Sith?
I don't know.
I don't remember. Do you ever hear the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
I don't think he gives a gender, right? So.
So it could be cool. Or maybe the Acolyte is Plagueis' first pupil, or someone who's going toe-to-toe with. I don't. I mean, this is all.
Maybe it's a complete misdirect, and the Acolyte is just some, like, ship.
Oh my god. I believe it's an old wooden ship. Diversity. I'm super excited for what's to come, and we'll see. And the thing that I said on one of our shows that has Leslie Headland said was she doesn't have a favorite Star Wars movie because it's all Star Wars. And I think that's something that is needed. And I think the one thing that I think everybody is drawn to The Mandalorian about is that it feels like it is all one Star Wars. Like it respects what was done before it and it respects what was done story-wise, timeline-wise after it. It doesn't pretend that something didn't happen. It recognizes it and it builds upon that. And I think that's crucial for High Republic now being a part of this, that even a show like Mandalorian will in some cases have to acknowledge even the slightest little bit. I mean, it's 400 or 500 years after, so whatever, but because it's happened, like we still have to acknowledge the Roman Empire. I mean, we still go look at the Colosseum. Like, but history is history no matter what. And I think that's what's crucial about it is once you do it, you're like, this is what's happened. Okay. And now everything that happens afterwards has to fit into what is taking place. And I'm really excited for it.
Have you watched Queen's Gambit yet?
Brock, I just watched The Witcher.
No, yeah. So many people I know have watched that, but like, I think you know enough about it to know it's like Gambit.
I don't know anything about it.
Is technically about chess, but it's not about chess, right?
I don't know.
The High Republic is about hyperspace lanes, but it's not about hyperspace lanes. So that's something that just sort of popped into my head, where it's like they're talking about hyperspace lanes in this book exciting. Like nobody cares about chess, but when Anya Taylor-Jones, whatever her name is, when she plays chess, all of a sudden we're all interested in it. So that's like the vibe of this. And like, I think we live in a world of WandaVision now where like Disney's like, go ahead, make something cool, something surprising. Go and let's try something new. And I mean, I think WandaVision's doing pretty well so far. So yeah, why can't we do something totally left field in Star Wars? There's no reason not to.
True. Why not? Well, I guess this week's topic will switch to next week because this week it went off the rails. But it was a good conversation because that's what we do here. I haven't seen WandaVision. I haven't seen Queen's Gambit. I actually didn't know Queen's Gambit was about chess. I don't know anything. I live under a rock. I've been pretty. I'm turning into like an old man who just doesn't care, and I'm set in my ways. I watched the Al Capone movie by Josh Trank.
Oh yeah, did you like it or no?
It was okay. Here's my thing. I was okay. I don't know what else.
This is the one where he's old, right?
Yeah, and it's Tom Hardy, and everyone's like, Tom Hardy is so great in it, and I'm like, for the first like half of the movie, I was like, I don't know what he just said. Like he's just like, he's like, what are we going here? We go, that's so bad. I was like, I don't know what. And then Kyle MacLachlan shows up, and I'm like, thank goodness someone I understand is on the street. It's like Kyle MacLachlan's talking. I'm like, I know what he's saying. And Linda Cardellini's like, I'm like, I know what they're saying. And then Tom Hardy's like, I was like, I guess that's part of that's kind of part of his character, I guess, because he's, But anyway, right. It was it's
a thing.
Yeah, I kind of thought it would be. Well, I saw like ratings and stuff, so I saw that it was lowly rated on everything, but I was kind of expecting a little bit more from it, especially because it's Josh Trank, whose career kind of nosedived into nothing, and then it was like this small little project that he got that somebody was like, we'll give you some money, kid, make a movie. And I was just like expecting a little bit more. I don't know what the word is, but it just didn't feel as clean as I don't know why I'm talking about this on a Star Wars podcast, but yeah, anyway, I just watched that. But Kyle MacLachlan's great. By the way, we subscribe to Som TV, which is a wine streaming service. Don't judge me. Aaron's big on that. But so Aaron watches like every week. They're like, we have this and we have that, and they have like these tastings or whatever. And then 2 weeks ago, we put it on, and she's like, "What's this?" I'm like, "I don't know." She puts it on, and it was Joel McHale and Kyle MacLachlan just drinking bottles of wine together. Because Kyle MacLachlan is a vintner, so he's like, he owns a winery, he knows all about wine and everything. And Joel McHale's like, "I just like it." And he's like pouring it, and it's like 45 minutes of them drinking wine. And you can watch, I think, a 5-minute clip on YouTube. I highly recommend that for people who like watching celebrities drink wine and talk about wine. And they both seem like just like decent people too. That's the weird thing, is they're just like, yeah, we're good guys, we have families, and we're drinking wine. Yeah. What do you want to talk about now?
Never tell me the odds.
Oh, hold on, I have to get the graphic ready. You're throwing me for a loop here. We didn't even get to it. Next week we're going to do it. Next week we will have a clickbait topic. How about that? Like clickbait. Never tell me the odds. Odds.
What are the odds? Where's the email? There it is. Click on it. Oh, boom, boom, boom. James Razile. He sent you an email. It came, and it tells you that you can sponsor us if you go to patreon.com/Rebel Scum Podcast. You know, we try our best. We try to make it work, but we always like support from people that like what we're doing. If you don't, that's cool. If you do, we love you. And if you do, we say your name on every episode. Wow, that's unbelievable. We don't cheap out and just put it on a graphic at the end of the show. By the way, James, we should just put their names on the graphic at the end of the show. We say your name in exaltation because you're wonderful. And those people are Heidi Feder, executive producer, Barry Brophy, Dennis Allen, Mary Kristen Aton, Jeff Wilson, Phil Staniforth, Sooner Thrawn, Scott D, Josh Price, Matt W,
Rez, Frank Perkins, Neil Lowry, D Raven, Spencer, Cosmic Girl 02, Gleek Play 1, Automated Joy, Disney, Desi, Charlotte, Kayla Davis, Aaron Quinton, Jericho Kane, Girls with Sabers, and the Den of Nerds. The Den of Nerds.
Thank you to all of them. You know what? I think I'm doing Heidi a disservice because I've always said executive producer after her name. And like the way the cadence of my voice goes sometimes, it sounds like I'm saying that Barry Brophy is an executive producer. But that's only for Heidi.
Barry Brophy.
Or I don't think you can, I don't know. Executive producer we just given to Heidi because she's the best.
Heidi is the best. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like Barry Brophy is in.
Like, everyone thinks I'm executive producer.
He actually changed his name legally to executive producer. Legally, he went down to the courthouses in the middle of a pandemic and said, "I need to change my name to executive producer." Barry Brophy. Anyway, look. One thing we didn't talk about because we rambled and whatever. Screw everybody. Is Thrawn? There is a rumor of I don't know if this is in the news or not, but there's a rumor of a Thrawn casting, and that it will be Lars Mikkelsen playing him in live action. That apparently is who Filoni and Favreau want desperately to play him, and apparently he has signed on. And this is I don't think it's official. I think it's a rumor, and I don't care. I don't even like. We know that they're searching for him. Whether or not he's going to be in it, who knows? I don't want to be ruined by it. Last I heard was Favreau did the interview on Good Morning America, and he said that Filoni was still writing the Ahsoka show. So, maybe they jumped the gun and they cast him, or maybe this is just people jumping the gun themselves online because they need those clicks, clickety click, click, click. But anyway, whatever. He might be there. But anyway, so the reason why I'm verbally vomiting over everybody is because the very first thought is that Thrawn will hire Boba Fett. Thrawn will, at some point in these live action shows, hire Boba Fett to do I don't know what, and I don't care what.
Yeah.
Because it's cool.
I like the idea because that's just an easy way to pull in a character from another show into that show. So I'm gonna go 80%. I don't know how.
This is the thing. Like Rangers of the New Republic, Ahsoka, and Mandalorian can all easily connect to Thrawn, but the Boba Fett show is just so it's so off.
It's the Mandoverse, dude.
It is, but I mean,
They'll find a way.
no,
They'll have a crossover show.
No, I'm not saying it's not impossible. It's just like all of those feel like so connected, and then Boba Fett's just like, I'm going to Tatooine. Like it's just like what?
Yeah.
I don't know. So
I don't know. Like with Ahsoka coming out, is like I don't know if I want Thrawn right away. You know what I mean? So it's like,
well, I'm yawning. My feeling is it's been a long day. I feel like her show is about finding Thrawn, and maybe it ends with her finding Thrawn, but then you have Mando season 3. I don't know what that's about or how that connects to Thrawn because I feel like that's Darksaber related solely. And then you have the Rangers of the New Republic, which could easily tie into Thrawn somehow because they're like, a new threat has been found by Ahsoka. We must go get there's some kind of connective tissue there. Sure. But the thing is, I believe they said these shows, these series, not Boba Fett, but these other 3 are going to connect in a way, and then do like Netflix did. What was it called? The non-Avengers. What was the show that they did where they're Defenders? The Defenders. Yeah. And it sounds like they're going to do something like that, where there's going to be like a big event. It's going to lead to a big event, and Thrawn could be that big event. I'm going to go 47% on him hiring Boba Fett.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. It could happen. Whatever. Next odd. The Acolyte will not be the only Disney Plus series to connect with the High Republic in the next 5 years. So in the next 5 years, we're going to get more Disney Plus shows that will connect directly to the High Republic. And I don't just mean like in Mandalorian season 3, but like, remember when Avon Chris came down? I don't mean like that. I mean like literally directly related to it sometime in like 100-year span of that show.
Yeah. I'm gonna go full Brock on this because it's just like I think it just depends on how successful these books in the next 6 months do, right? So, books and comics. So like, I'm gonna go full Brock because it's like it's not like it's not possible, but.
See, my feeling is if these books bomb hard, you go all in on TV on it, because the people watching the TV are not going to care that these books bomb. They're going to be like, oh, a new Star Wars show. Oh, what's this High Republic thing? And then you can just be like, dude.
Good point.
Anyway, I
guess if the Acolyte is really, Acolyte does really, really well, then yeah, you have a point. Like they could still make it somehow.
And the thing with these books is they're coming out regardless. Like these things are happening.
Yeah,
so if they bomb, they bomb. And if they don't, they don't. But you have the Acolyte. And I don't think that's going anywhere. I think that is, however far into development that is, they decided to announce that at the shareholder meeting, and they did not announce the Kevin Feige Star Wars movie. Which, by the way, I got to ask you this. Yeah, exactly. There was like all this talk where people like, Kevin Feige had to come out and say he's only doing the Star Wars movie. He has no other role with Star Wars. Is this like a thing going on where people are like, Kevin Feige is going to take over Star Wars? Like, he's making a movie.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. I just read all these things where they're like, he had to like come out and say he's not taking over Star Wars. He's just doing this. And I was just reading it like, what? He's doing a movie and he hired a writer to make him like he's. Did you hear about that?
No.
You're lucky.
I was just like, cool, whatever. When you have a trailer for me, I'll get more excited.
Oh, I'm with you on that. But anyway, he's not taking over Star Wars, which I don't know why he would, but
there's so many other people that are more equipped to do that.
Did you give a percentage on the Acolyte, a new show?
Yeah, 50-50.
Yeah, I'm going to go 51. I'm going to Prices Right you. Yeah, because yeah, like who knows? I mean, there's so much Star Wars coming out that I'm at the point where I think we talked about this before, where I'm just like, I haven't seen WandaVision yet because I just finished another show and selfishly, I can only watch so much at a time.
Mhm.
I'll watch WandaVision. I just need my time. I need to take a step back. Let me watch my Capone movie.
I told you, man, just wait for it to finish in 6 weeks and like
I'm down
watch
with.
it all in one go.
I'm totally down with a 22-minute episode. I am like, I will watch the poop out of that.
Because even if they're like 30 minutes, which they're not, there's 8 episodes. That's like
I
just
heard,
the 2.5 hours. So
I believe IGN said every single Marvel show that's been announced so far, in the end, they will all be the same length of time.
Oh, interesting.
So Falcon and Winter Soldier is 6 episodes, but they're 40 to 50 minutes, and Loki, I think. So they're So apparently they're all 6 hours. I believe they said on IGN. I gotta get an IGN. I just saw that randomly, and I was like, oh, all right. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's kind of neat. And our final ad today, the most depressing ad of all time: Grogu will not appear in season 3 of The Mandalorian.
0%, James. Don't be scared.
I don't know. I don't know.
It'd be a cool flex, but like, come on.
Yeah, but you use him too much.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You use him.
Well, kind of. He didn't do a lot in season 2. He's just there.
Exactly. And then I honestly really believe he's not in that second last episode, so they can be like, can we do the show without Baby Yoda? The only argument against that is he's present in that episode without being present. Like his presence is felt the entire time because it's all about getting him back. But it's also like, will people stick with these characters if the baby's not even in it? And if you think back to season 1, that episode with Bill Burr in season 1, he's put in a closet for the entire episode.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't know. I'm really, I understand the want to go to him, and once you put him on the screen, everyone's gonna love him, and your ratings are gonna go ballistic. But it's also like, if you don't need him, don't use him.
Yeah.
And the show's called The Mandalorian. It's not called The Mandalorian and Baby Yoda. It's called The Mandalorian. So I'm gonna go 32% because I'm also I feel like they're gonna do it anyway. But I'm kind of like, be ballsy, man. Just take me on a new direction. That arc is done. Let's go on to a new arc. I'm okay. I have come to terms with that.
That's like a really good point. Like, it's like, because did Rich Fumikawa do the egg episode as well?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, it's like, does he not like working with Baby Yoda / Grogu? But he's done 3 episodes then, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But the egg episode is the first one where they bond. Yeah, it's huge, Baby Yoda. But
yeah, if he hadn't made that, I'd be like, oh, I don't think that dude wants to work.
Yeah.
With Grogu.
But it's I don't know. I think it depends on how they're going, and if they don't need Baby Yoda, I do kind of think you will see him, only because the Grogu has become such a huge part of the show. But I also think that they're like, you can't go to the well too often, and I think they understood that, and that's why they got rid of him this season. They're like, you found your home.
Yeah.
Now, the first episode might be like, it didn't work out with me and Luke. I'm back. we don't know, but I'm gonna go 37% because who knows? All right, you ready for your news?
You know it.
Hollow news. Hollow news. I need you to go long on the news, Brock, because I don't have a top 5. Okay, bye.
Bye. Hollow news. The news you need to know right now. Obi-Wan has started setting up in a little town called Little Morrow, Buckinghamshire, and the villagers are furious because they built it in an abandoned quarry, and apparently, now this is interesting to me, could stay there for 3 years. And if you don't know, Little Marlow is like a farming town. It's a very small village. So the idea of all these people coming in to build this Star Wars set in a quarry and just be there for however long they're going to shoot, it's upsetting people. And that, we've heard this story before, especially when like a festival comes to a small little town. Ewan McGregor will be there in March to start shooting. And a source from the town told The Sun that this is a massive production and a hugely lucrative franchise, but obviously not everyone locally is pleased to see Disney moving in. It might generate some jobs, but this is a pretty rural area, which has always been quiet and peaceful. The thought of turning it into some sort of intergalactic war zone to make TV shows is horrifying. And then the other problem is like this could affect uh how people live there. So like there's a lot of concerns over how much lighting there'll be at night or noise or traffic and the impact on what on local wildlife because as I said before, it's a very rural place. But that's it's I'm sure they'll figure out something because change is confusing at times, but maybe get used to it. I don't know. They can always be proud to be the set of some large part of the Obi-Wan series. I'm finding this interesting that they're saying they might be there for 3 years because I believe Obi-Wan Kenobi is supposed to come out in the next year and a half. So we'll see. Maybe there's more to this than just a 6 episode miniseries. 1313, everybody's favorite long lost project, is back in the rumor mill again. Uh, Saying that the project for Star Wars 1313, what was like video games around the underworld of the galaxy slash Boba Fett, it might be still in the works. There's not much in the way of, but they might be working this into like a TV show or a movie. Again, this is rumor mill stuff, but it's back again. Everybody's favorite Star Wars possibility rumor. It's back. And in sports news, when do we talk about sports on this show? In Australia, I believe. Yeah, in Queensland, Australia, India versus Australia playing in cricket. Some of the fans, a large group of fans, came dressed up as Star Wars characters. Mostly a large group of people dressed up as stormtroopers. And if you wanted to know, it looked like mostly First Order troopers. They came and just watched the show, watched the game. They played some Star Wars movie, and everyone had a good time. That there was people dressed up as Yoda and Darth Vader. But yeah, that happened. Really cool. Check it out on the internet. There's cool pictures of just people all in white being stormtroopers. Very, very cool. And you know what? For a long time, Pleasantville had more VR effects until Phantom Menace came along. Boom, I put the story in there. You're welcome, James.
Yay!
And this has been your Hollow News.
Spider-Man 3 will feature Peter Pan Bakery at Christmas time. And that's where Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man's going to work. I made part of that up. Top 5!
Top 5. What's today's top 5, James?
Well, because we're getting Grand Admiral Thrawn, let's do top 5 Legends characters we would like to see made canon on a Disney Plus series in any capacity, whether it's just a name drop by Ahsoka Tano, played by Rosario Dawson, or anything else. My number 5 is Kyle Katarn, or whatever the hell his name is. He's appeared in a bunch of video games, and he's a mercenary, and he's kind of cool, and whatever. He's a human, so it's very just, you could cast Keanu Reeves if you want, and he could be the John Wick of Star Wars. Let's do it. Or Chris Pine. You got Chris Pine, Chris Pratt, any of the Chris's.
Any of the Hollywood Chris's.
Any of the Hollywood Chris's. Schwarzenegger won't know which one he's talking about. you get any of them. You get any of them, you're good.
Kyle Katarn, like people love that game still, and now it's back on all the systems.
It's on sale on the Switch right now, by the way.
Yeah, I know. That's why I heard about it recently. Yeah. Mine's gonna be straight out of
Compton.
I forget which. Straight out of Compton. No, straight out of Kashyyyk. Chewbacca's nephew, who is in. I can't remember the title because there was 2. There was like Jedi Academy and then like Junior Jedi Academy. It was based around the fact that the Solo kids are all Jedi, and it was in the younger one. The books were shorter, and it was Anakin Solo, and I forget what he had a female friend who was a Tusken Raider, but she doesn't wear any of the gear. Their training is on Yavin 4 in the temples, and she never wears shoes because she's like, oh, I never have to. I've never been able to go barefoot in Tatooine because it's sand and it's hot. But anyways, Lobaka. Maybe I'm confusing this. Maybe he's in the Jason and Jaina one. I can't remember. I read all of it. Anyways, Lobaka was his nephew, and he was a Jedi, and he had a little translator droid on his belt that would say all the things he was saying. So, yeah, more Wookiees, please.
All right, let's do it. My number 3 or 4. 3. I'm just you know what? Let's skip 4 because 4 sucked. My number 4. Is Dash Rendar, aka the Han Solo of. I couldn't think of anybody else, so I went with Dash Rendar because everybody likes Dash Rendar except for Pablo Hidalgo, but we won't go there. That's how we get. You know what? I'm gonna put Pablo Hidalgo in our tags, and we'll get a lot because actually Pablo Hidalgo retweeted this and he said that tweeting is not for Dash Rendars.
I'm gonna put Dash Rendar is my number 4 too. I'm like, he's got to be in there somewhere.
You know, though. Go on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say
Shadows of the Empire. No. Shadows of the Empire really remind me of this like Project Luminous thing. You know, like a book to be so big that to cross like so many things. But.
And Shadows of the Empire, I think, you know, while people like, and I believe I could be putting words in Pablo Hidalgo's mouth, but I don't think he's a crazy fan of Dash Rendar. And I understand, like, he's basically just Han Solo and blah. He's kind of a lazy character. However, you can't, and we did this podcast 5 years ago, almost 4 years ago. You can't underestimate how important Shadows of the Empire is. Like you just said, it's very reminiscent of High Republic. And that it was a book, a comic, a soundtrack, a video game, and toys. And George Lucas gauged it and determined whether or not the Star Wars was still viable and could make the prequels. And based on Shadows of the Empire, he decided to make the Phantom Menace. And because Jar Jar Binks is a playable character in the N64 game Shadows of the Empire, that's why he made him a character in Phantom Menace. I made that stat up. My number 3 is Zorba the Hutt.
Oh yeah.
Jabba the Hutt's father. I love Jabba the Hutt. I love that Boba Fett is now on the throne of Jabba. I'm a huge Jabba fan. I love Hutts. Just bring back all the Hutts. Just make a Hutt show. Hutts. I've said this before on the podcast though. When I went to go see Phantom Menace, I loved Jabba the Hutt. That Jabba the Hutt was in it. When I saw A New Hope at the 20th anniversary special edition, I was super excited to see Jabba the Hutt added into that. I didn't care what he looked like. I didn't care what people thought of it. I love Jabba the Hutt. Give me Zorba the Hutt, the show, his rise to power. Or not, whatever.
You know what? I'm going to switch up number 4, and I'll take out Dash Rendar, but how about this? The Outrider, his ship, is somehow brought back. It's not his ship, but it's like, he's just like...
It's in Revenge of the Sith, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I think so.
Yeah, but not really. I know what you're saying, though. You want it to be like an actual ship that people go on. And, it's not like, oh, look at that little speck is the Outrider.
Put in High Republic, and it's like, it's the precursor to the Millennium Falcon. It's like, here's a Kessel cruiser.
Hey, look.
I got it right here. What is it? Oh, sorry, not Kessel. Corellian, and made by the Corellian Engineering Corporation. So it's just like, so is the...
Do you know who's in need of a new ship? Din Djarin.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, it is something you could do. My number... What am I on? 4.
Oh, wait, no, I haven't done number.
Oh, you're getting rid of Dash Rendar completely. Just like
my number 3. My number 3 is oh God, what's his name?
I don't know.
Sky Killer from
Star Killer.
Forces Unleashed.
Yes.
Bring him back. He's a cool character.
And you get Sam Witwer.
You already know Sam Witwer.
Yeah.
You know him. You have him on speed dial.
He's invited to everything televised for Star Wars. He's there. My number 2 is Prince Xizor. Zizor. Yeah, I love him. Great character. We did one of the first, I think the first vote of no confidence we did that wasn't part of our podcast was Andrew talking about Shizor versus Thrawn. And I think those two characters would be, I think it would be intriguing to have them both on screen together and kind of be nemesis to one another in some capacity. I don't think that'll happen the way things are going, but you never know. And it's just, that's a character that you have who is, for diehard fans, established, and for new fans, someone that I think would pique their interest.
I'm going to go to video games for my number 2. Straight out of Knights of the Old Republic 2, Darth Nihilus. I don't think he's technically canon. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah,
you could actually poach any of those characters in both those games and be like, yeah.
Yeah, I think Revan is now canon. Bane is definitely canon. Revan, I think they made canon in some capacity, or something like very like minor though, like a lame canon. Like, whoa, look at this! That's a black cloth that used to belong to Revan.
Fine, then we'll go Bastila, like the Jedi character from the first one. Boom.
Let's go with all of them. My number 1, you said it. It is Star Killer, because just like you said, you've got Sam Witwer. Just give him you know what, and the thing with Sam Witwer is whatever, you like Maul, you like whatever, he's a great ambassador for your brand. All he does is promote Star Wars. Every time he tweets something, it's about Star Wars, and he knows so much. He's so knowledgeable in Star Wars and all that. Yeah. That I just think that it's you give the man his due. So I'm going with you know what, screw Star Killer. I'm just going with Sam Witwer. Make Sam Witwer Star Wars character.
They modeled Anakin's face in Clone Wars after him, for crying out loud.
Just use Sam Witwer.
I know it's gonna be tricky, and I know they really can't do it, but bring the Solo twins back in, man. Jason and Jaina. You know what? They don't even have to be the Solo twins. Just call them Jason and Jaina, and they're Jedi. Go. The end. I loved those stories, and Anakin Solo as well was just like, oh, I loved everything. Those characters are what brought me into the expanded universe, because I was like, I didn't read other stuff. I read that first. I was young at the time, so like that was how I entered. It's like, oh, the stories they did with those guys, and like. It wasn't just like, here's a kid's book. They kept growing those characters to what they became. Like,
I think they're tricky now, but I think the more time that passes, the more there are opportunities to bring not the exact same characters to life, but an iteration of those characters for sure, 100%. And look, Marvel's doing What If. Why can't Star Wars do What If?
Exactly. Oh, yes.
I will say this, though. I have to say it. I do not want. I say this, but if it happens, I'll probably love it. I'm not like we just mentioned Spider-Man multiverse thing. I'm cool with that, but I don't think, and I'm only really cool with that because Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Jamie Foxx, Alfred Molina. Huge fan of everything that they brought to Spider-Man, all of them. I don't really want that in Star Wars. I'm fine with one linear line in Star Wars. I don't need you to be like, whoa, look, like, I know people will argue world between worlds all they want, but I don't. I like we've been there, we've done that. Let's not dwell on that. So as much as I'd like to see the Solo twins at some point, I hope that they're not the Solo twins, but they're the Babu twins or something. Like it's the same idea, but they're somebody else's kids. Or it's a what if.
Fun fact. There's a Babu Frick character in High Republic.
Really?
Because I was like, they're like this little tiny character, or not, like they didn't give them a name. It's just he's just there because there's an explosion and they save this character, and it's not, and you never see him again. But it's just like, yeah, he looks like a little baby, and it's like, what race is this? I looked it up. I'm like, oh, it's a Babu Frick. I'm like, this is sick.
Hey. So there's a Babu Frick Funko Pop coming out. I gotta say something. The Babu Frick, I love Babu Frick to death, but he does not translate well to Funko Pop / action figures. Just does not translate well to that stuff. In the movie, fantastic. But for some reason, I look at this Funko Pop, I'm like, no desire to own that ever. It's not like, there's not, it's kind of like Porg Funko Pop. I have the Porg Funko Pop. I'm like, this isn't, I don't know. It's like it's missing what makes Porg a Porg. I don't know what it is. And the Babu Frick, I'm just like, there's something missing there. Hey!
Like, was it Entertainment Weekly that had a cover of movie characters and Babu Frick was in it? Or what was that picture you sent me?
Was it Empire?
Where they're like, it's like, or maybe Empire, where it's all these movie characters watched in a movie theater. And I thought it was the caterpillar from Labyrinth. But you're like, no, but the caterpillar Labyrinth is lower down. Oh.
Yeah, that was. There's a new Empire now, and Chris Evans is seated next to Daisy Ridley dressed as Rey, and he tweeted, "I'm next to Rey." Anyway. 198 of these bad boys.
Wow.
Should we name this show How Disney Ruined Star Wars?
No. Stop it. I wish I was there and I could just spray you with a water bottle.
I'm just telling you, like, when you look and you're like, well, these are what's getting views. It's hatred. We gotta spew hatred, Brock.
Yeah, like that's what the world needs right now. More people being mad and yelling and screaming. So in the last few weeks, there were times like, this is how democracy dies. I feel like I said that.
Yeah, with thunderous applause. Yeah, it is rough. No, we stay positive. We like, somebody said something once, and I said, but the reason why we do this is, well, to hang out virtually. Yeah. But also, we like Star Wars. And if we didn't, I don't think I would want to talk about it. You know what I mean? Exactly. There have been things on Star Wars I haven't been crazy about. And I haven't talked about it because I can't stand The Mandalorian. At all.
Wow.
I think I've liked every episode. I think there's been a couple weak episodes of Mandalorian, but I don't dwell on those. You do, because you hate. You're very.
I do.
Yeah, I was like, Brock, you know what? I mean, look, my favorite episode of The Mandalorian is the egg episode. If it doesn't say something, then there's a problem. There's probably most people's one of their least favorite episodes. But in all fairness, though, what would you say the least? Is like your least preferred episode of The Mandalorian? We'll say preferred.
I guess the spider one.
Yeah.
The frog lady, because it was cool.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really do anything. It's fine.
I'm kind of with you on that. I'm so happy that Payne and Reed got to come back and do that finale after that episode. It's like they were almost like, we gave him the weak one. Let's just throw him a bone here. And they're like, all right. And he crushed the finale. Like that show has had some great directing. And that was some of the best, I think, in the last episode.
Yeah. I don't know. They're all good. So it's just useless to be like, oh, which is I guess your least favorite, I guess is the way to say it. So
I said least preferred because I didn't want to go favorite.
Preferred,
but I haven't. So in full disclosure, I've watched season 1 entirely 3 or 4 times. I've only seen season 2 all the way through once. And I've only seen 1 episode twice, and 1 episode I've seen 1, and then I walked in and Aaron was watching Luke Skywalker rip apart droids. I do intend to watch it again. I just haven't gotten around to it at this point, but I will, because I genuinely enjoy everything that show throws at me. For me, I think the first 2 episodes of season 2 are among the ones that I could probably fast forward through. But on a rewatch, I would obviously watch them again. And maybe I'll see them with new context and new light because I've seen the entire story, right? So we'll see.
Yeah.
And the first episode's great. I'm not saying the first episode's not good. It's just it's there's no Luke Skywalker.
There's no Luke Skywalker.
And there's no egg. And that's, for me, it's got to be. Oh, there is kind of an egg. There's a one inside the...
the pearl.
Yeah, all right. Anything else you want to say?
No. Wear your mask. Get dirty, boys and girls.
Wear a mask. 198 episodes. Next week is 199. We got a cool top 5 coming for you next week. And then 200 episodes coming up after that.
200 episodes.
My mask fell.
Why? Why every time?
All right.
Why?
I don't know. All right, everybody. That's Brock. I am James. I'm the one wearing a cape. And he was always Scum.
Rebel scum.
Hey scumbags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.